Hey there, Cancerian friends. Welcome to your reading for January 5th until the 11th. I went ahead and started off by doing a quick scrying session for you, and I've got a couple notes I was going to share. So if this doesn't interest you, feel free to skip ahead or find another reader. So no worries. All right, so your first message I was getting for you was, I couldn't tell if it was a sunrise or a sunset, though I feel like it's kind of the same thing. The rising of the sun symbolizes birth, growth, resurrection, and new beginnings. The sunset refers to the ending of work, a time to rest, life cycles, slowing down, and connection to passed on loved ones. It also talks about grounding and the spectrum of emotions with all the colors. And it can also talk about inspirations. The second thing I was seeing for you during the scrying session was a rosebud it was a bud, but it was also blossoming at the same time. It was two things at the same time, which is really interesting. I took this kind of as the same as the sunset and the sunrise. It's like, which is it? Well, it's both. Beginning and the end, it's all the same, right? It's an Ouroboros. It's very cyclical. So the rose itself represents love, secrecy, mysticism, achievements, among other things. I just picked a couple. Feel free to look into this imagery as well on your own. If you're feeling called to, I encourage you to. Now, I also wrote down that you could be budding in some ways, but blossoming in others. So you're still growing in some ways, but you've reached your full potential in a lot of other ways too, is kind of what I was getting. The third thing I was seeing for you was a circle inside of a triangle. So, any Harry Potter fans out there, I guess that might be significant. But looking into the symbolism here, the mind, body, and spirit are all rolled into one. The circle represents wholeness, even in Ouroboros, the infinite timelessness, the cyclicality of it all. The triangle represents stability, emotions, and other groups of three, such as the Holy Trinity, Mother, Maiden, Crone, good things come in groups of three, the three fairy godparents, so on and so forth, right? So many groups of three. We love threes. Next, I was seeing a Russian nesting doll. This might hold some significance for you in particular, but the symbolism of the nesting doll is talking about family, motherhood, nurturing, unity, fertility. And I also wrote down digging deep within oneself, like peeling back the layers. Now, because the Russian nesting doll talks about motherhood and fertility, this could indicate maybe pregnancy for some of you guys. This could also indicate trying for children, things like that. Take it how it resonates, right? Now, the fifth thing I was seeing for you was an individual carrying a chalice. So this can represent the need for or obtaining spiritual nourishment, right? Feeling thirsty. It can talk about renouncing old ways. Now, another interesting thing I stumbled on was the cupbearer. In medieval times, they were a devoted servant that would be the individual to pour the wine or the drinks for royalty, nobility, because they were trustworthy. They were not going to poison the nobility. I don't know so much about nowadays, but yes. Now, that aside, it's interesting. I didn't know this. I was raised Protestant, not Catholic, but I was getting that priests in the Catholic Church, they would inherit a chalice, like as an initiation into priesthood. So I found that really interesting. It's kind of like a blessing for the work you've put in, kind of thing. Now, lastly, I was seeing a tree line for you, kind of like in a farmer's field. They use it to divide up the fields as like a boundary. So this could represent, obviously, boundaries, but a line of trees is associated with connections and strength. So I found that kind of neat. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in for you with the Shaman Oracle. We're going to get started with the card readings and see see what's out there for you for this upcoming week. Now, if you're curious about the full month of January at a glance, I do have those readings out and about for you, as well as the readings for the full year of 2025 out if you're curious about the year at a glance as well. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that kind of fun stuff. It seriously does help out the channel. As you can see, my channel is still quite funky fresh. So I do appreciate your support, your love, your good vibes. So thank you so much for being here for this reading. All right, one more for the Quantum Oracle. Okay. All right, so next up, I'm going to get my life together with these cards. Sorry. All right, I'm going to grab some Manga Tarot. We're going to pull a couple of these guys, and then we're just going to dive right into the reading. And I will be clarifying the manga that I pull here and now with my Shadowscapes Tarot. And once again, this is for our Cancerian friends from the 5th to the 11th of January. Okay, we are ready to roll for you. Ooh, okay, so first things first, this is my Shadowscapes. I will be confirming these here with it, but it looks like for the Shaman Oracle, you are getting the Spirit of Love. Interesting. You can kind of see this individual standing here with it looks like a person standing there with their arms stretched out, just ready to give and receive love freely and openly. It's kind of this flow of love and positivity. Now, these little dots here, they honestly, to me, they look like roses a little bit. Whether they're blossoming or blooming, it's hard to say, right? Budding or blossoming, rather. So that's really interesting to see that kind of show up. And I do really like the... Oh, hold up. I'm just going to dive into the Herbiary. Sorry. This right here... It's I don't know if it's a rising or a setting sun that we're seeing, but this is what I was seeing for you in the scrying, the golds and just the rich colors that come with a beautiful sunrise or a beautiful sunset. Now, this card is Veravain. If you feel called to work with Veravain this week, this plant, I definitely do. It's a very magical plant. This card is encouraging you to let magic in. Don't fight it. So I really like this because, I mean, for one, the individual carrying the chalice, this spiritual nourishment, I feel like an opportunity, like someone giving you a chalice kind of thing, an initiation kind of is kind of the vibe here, is what I'm getting. So we're gonna press forward. We're gonna see what's happening. It could be crazy. Now, interesting, we have the Quantum Oracle giving us an event of loss. Once again, we see the sun dipping towards the horizon here. To me, this looks like a sunset. But it's interesting because one thing that was brought up with the sun rising and the sun setting is it's all the same. Is the sun rising or setting? Is the rose budding or blossoming? It's all the same. It's cyclical, right? So I feel like this might come up a little bit more in the reading. I am curious how this pertains, what we're losing. Maybe it's something you wanted to let go of. We'll see. We'll find out. So let's dive right into your tarot. You're starting off the week. You are starting off the week with the Page of Swords. Interesting. This talks about curiosity. This can talk about the way we react to things like that. Sometimes we're feeling a little bit cloudy in our judgment. But I see you on top of this mountain peak here. I'm curious how this is going to pertain for the reading. But you move from this curiosity into the moon. And the moon is talking about this evolutionary phase that you're in. Once again, the rose, is it budding or is it blossoming? What's happening? It's this in-between stage being talked about here. What cycle are you in? It's kind of mysterious, right? So this feels kind of good. Like, this seems to be lining up quite nicely for you, Cancer. Now, this moves you into this kind of dark night of the soul, this transitionary phase here. Maybe the moon phase, because it's talking about evolution, maybe there's something that we lost during this evolutionary phase. And I feel like it's for your highest good, because it leads you into the Ace of Wands, where this is talking about your path being ahead for this, your path ahead being clear for you to charge forward with this fiery energy. And I do want to point out here, where is it? There might be mountains for you to overcome, is kind of what I'm feeling here. There might be something that it does feel like an initiation, for lack of better words. I mean, because we've got the mountains showing up here, and we've got this path being split into 3 directions, which, I mean, fits really nicely with our triangle and circle, talking about groups of 3. The goal is to pick the middle path, not to pick one of the 2 extremes, right? So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in with the Shadowscapes for you, and we'll start clarifying and figuring out what exactly is happening for you here. Once again, for Cancer, from January 5th until the 11th. Spirit, what is the Page of Swords for Cancer? Interesting. It's being confirmed by the 3 of Wands. So this is you kind of looking out on the horizon. You're trying to figure out, there's a lot of mountains in this reading. Oh my God, sorry. a little ADHD over here, but there's a lot of mountains here. There's a lot of initiation for you. But this individual here, they're kind of staring off into the horizon, and they're looking for opportunities. They're waiting for their ships to come in. And I really like how the number 3 is showing up again. It feels kind of awesome. But this, looking for new opportunities, new ways of being, that kind of thing. And I feel like you're choosing, like, you've got these white robes on. I feel like you're making a pure decision, your best decision. I feel like you had to, I feel like this is you climbing up the mountains here to get a better view of what is in store for you, what is meant for you. And you're kind of like, your arms are open there. You're looking for an opportunity. You're like, I'm willing to accept what is for me. Take one more, Spirit. Okay. So this moves you into the 8 of Wands. You're moving from the Page of Swords to the 3 of Wands to the 8 of Wands. This is going to lead you into a flow state. This looking for your ships to come in, your new opportunities here. I feel like you jump on the best ship available, really, because the 8 of Wands talks about a whirlwind time. Things are moving very quickly. It's kind of serendipitous. It feels like a flow state. And I feel like you're getting things in order. Now, I feel very much the need to point out these seeds that they're blowing off. These might be messages either incoming from Spirit at this time, or this might be messages you're sending out. But I feel like you might be noticing a lot of signs and synchronicities, especially because I'm seeing all these mountains and these rites of passage that you're going through here. But I feel like you're handling this with a lot of grace and dignity. And we're just going to press forward. All right, I'll stop rambling. Spirit, what is the moon for Cancer? Ooh, confirmed by the Fool. So it's an adventure. It's kind of reminds me of our 3 of Wands, right? Looking for the new opportunity, leading you into a flow state. And this mysterious time, this in-between phase that you're going through, this eclipse, right? This evolution, it leads you to the Fool. It's a new opportunity, taking a leap of faith, right? And I feel like you're kind of guided by spirit, is kind of what I'm seeing here. This almost feels, this, how do I word this? This almost feels like a compulsion. Oh, interesting. There's a rose right there. Is it blooming or is it budding? Well, it's blooming for the Fool card, which is interesting. You'd think it would be budding for the Fool. But the Fool brings in old experiences, old knowledge into new endeavors, right? To take a leap of faith. We'll take one more, Spirit, for the Moon. Oof, oh my God, confirmed by the star. Jeez. Okay. So this is inspiration, it's transformation, it's regeneration. This is you obtaining the star and you're shining brightly at this time. You're like a magnet is kind of what I'm seeing. It's like people can't take their eyes off of you at this time. Like you're just so radiant, and like you're very much being encouraged to shine your light, even if it feels like kind of what I'm getting here. You're in the moon, but your path is lit up by the star. You are the star. You're lighting your own path for yourself. You're like a trailblazer is kind of what I'm getting. And it might be scary because it's a new endeavor, but it's like, what's to be afraid of? You're going to shine brightly. You're going to kill it. And I like the star talking about regeneration and this transformation. I really, really like that with the Moon card too. Like this feels like a powerful change. And I feel like you might be letting go of a few things that aren't working for you anymore. So this moves you into the Ace of Wands, this fiery forward movement, this new opportunity here. I'm just going to clear these cards for 2 seconds here. I just got to shuffle them again. I was making a little bit of a mess. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. Spirit, what is the Ace of Wands for Cancer? It's being confirmed by the Queen of Swords. Yeah, you're thinking very clearly at this time. That's what it is. Sorry, I feel very much called to say something here. This cut rope here, that's from you, the Queen of Swords. She cut it. That's the vibe I'm getting. You cut something away that wasn't working. Whether it was an old path you've severed ties to, an old way of being or doing. Take one more. Confirmed by Strength, 8. Cyclicality, beautiful. Is it budding? Is it blossoming? Is the sun rising? Is it setting? Or is it all of those? Are all of those true? So what I'm kind of the overall message here, just not to rant and rave for too long here, Aratia, but I feel like you're very much being encouraged to dig deep within, tame that shadow in the most loving, soothing, nurturing way possible. If there's something in your life, this sailboat, whatever this represents to you, it's got to go. And I feel like you're cutting this cord because the Queen of Swords talks about knowing her worth. She does not accept anything less than where she's already at. She is accepting offers, but not if they're going to meet her in a bad space, right? So it is knowing your worth. And you know what your worth is, my dear Cancer? It's the star. You're the star. You're radiant. You're beautiful. You're stunning. You're very talented. And I'm getting a lot of intuition here. I'm getting, like, this is a lot of gifts from Spirit here with this star card, the 8 of Wands, the Moon, the Strength card, the Queen of Wands. Like, this is an initiation for you on your journey. Open up your arms, be ready to accept the love and the light that the universe, the world around you has to offer. And don't be afraid to give that light and love forward as well, right? We pay it forward. Because I think this is going to lead you somewhere amazing this week. Like, I feel like you're really coming to terms with the cyclicality of life and how it works, the cycles we find ourselves in. When when we feel like we're in a repeat cycle, it's like the best we can hope for, because the rainy days are going to come back. They do, right? The best we can hope for is that we react in a better way in the future. And I feel like that's what that's kind of talking about with the Page of Swords, right? Knowing how to respond with dignity and grace and frickin' radiance, even in the face of mystery. So I think that's going to do it for me today, Cancer. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I think you're going to have a wonderful week. Take care now.